Hey everybody, it's Russell from What Drives Us, and this is, well, part of our review of the 2021 Toyota Prius RAV4 Prime prototype. Much more on that in just a second. A lot has been said about Toyota's efforts to quote-unquote electrify their fleet. Toyota has said no small amount of things about electrifying their fleet and what that means and what that could mean and what Toyota's actually done. And there's been a lot of consternation, no small amount of it, it's come from myself, about Toyota's lack of will to produce an electric vehicle. The closest before this was the Prius Prime, which had an EV range of 20-ish, maybe low 30s miles, depending on who you talk to, who you're driving, and where. So this new RAV4 Prime, the RAV4 version of the Prius Prime, bigger battery pack, 18 kilowatt hour battery pack, 42 miles of EV range, about 45 mpg in hybrid mode. It's a very strong offering. Is it a full electric car? No. But having dispensed with that obvious thing, let's talk about what it is. What it is a super strong offering from Toyota in the plug-in hybrid market. 42 miles of EV range is a lot. That will get most people at least to work, if not to work and back. It charges on 110. There is a high-speed charger that you can purchase. It comes with a 110 charger. It charges overnight. Probably less than that, if you don't deplete the battery entirely, which, as many Volt owners proved, that 40 miles is the difference between maybe not using gas at all. Our own Mark Coughlin drove 12,000 kilometers on a tank of gas. One tank of gas. So, in his Volt. So, the Prime offers the mainstream auto buyer a chance to get an electrified vehicle and use almost no fuel. But if they want to go on a road trip, if they exceed that range, no sweat, because they can go wherever they want and still get strong gas mileage in an SUV, in a good size SUV. The RAV4 is no longer a small SUV. It is at least a mid-size SUV. Toyota can argue with me. I don't know. Maybe they've all blown up. But all I'm saying is it's a good size vehicle. The downside to Toyota's plans with the RAV4 Prime, sadly, aren't simple. It's kind of complicated, but Toyota has said that it's only going to produce a limited number of these, and some of them are going to be in Japan, and some of them will come to the US. What that means is that what could potentially be a hugely popular vehicle, because make no mistake, one of the most popular vehicles Toyota makes, as one of the largest, if not the largest automaker on the planet, is the RAV4. So a plug-in hybrid version of this that wasn't crazy expensive, that offered super good gas mileage, great EV range, has the potential to be an enormous seller. And yet, out of the box, Toyota has said, we're only going to make 5,000 of these. Which sort of brings about the question, why? Why is Toyota only making 5,000 of these? And the answer to that is, we have no clue. Toyota hasn't said. Toyota probably will not say. It doesn't serve their purposes to explain to us why. But that's what it is. In the previous electrified versions of the RAV4, of which there have been two, an internal Toyota one and the Toyota collaboration with Tesla. Those were both limited runs. And as a pure EV, in the times that those vehicles came out, I want to say that's, if not understandable, forgivable. The question is Toyota intentionally supply constraining a vehicle that has enormous upsides forgivable? That's up to you. Toyota has intentionally engineered the RAV4 Prime to be a performance vehicle. By that I mean, and if you're not familiar with that term, I'll explain it. If you are, forgive me this digression. There's a number of ways you can make different hybrid vehicles. You can make them performance oriented, which means they'll be a little less efficient, they'll use more fuel, they'll use more electricity, but they won't go as fast, they won't go as quickly, because that efficiency has a price. Or you can engineer it to be performance, which means it's spunky and it's perky and it takes advantage of those quick full torque electric motors very quickly, but it's not as efficient. It uses more electricity, it uses a little more gasoline. Now, the differences aren't necessarily as big as you might think, but the differences in the feel and the driving experience can be enormous. Toyota has intentionally made this car a performance plug-in hybrid. Why do I say that? As Toyota has said, and as I have said several times in talking about this car, this is the second fastest Toyota made, okay? 5.7 0 to 60 time. The only Toyota that's faster is the Supra at 5 seconds 0 to 60. Now, nobody at Tesla is afraid of that 0 to 60 time, but this car drives, for a large car, for a heavy vehicle, this car drives really well. It's spunky, make no mistake about that. It gets up and goes. Base price on the Toyota RAV4 Prime, $38,000. The one I'm driving is an XSE, top-of-the-line model, all the bells and whistles, panoramic sunroof, cool HVAC system, the biggest touchscreen they have, and the JBL sound system. I don't have exact pricing. I think it's about $44,000-$45,000. Again, this is still a prototype. It's expected to be out in late summer. And again, it's expected by the Toyota dealers that I've spoken with to be very hard to get. None of the ones that I've talked to would say whether or not they were going to charge over MSRP for it. I can almost guarantee you that will be the case, and I despise that. I loathe that. But that's the system we have. Ford dealers have done the same thing with the Mach-e Mustang, and arguably car dealers have done that with other vehicles that aren't electrified, but were in high demand and short supply. It's just the way the market works, and until there are laws protecting consumers from price gouging, dealers are going to price gouge. Toyota obviously would be happy selling them at all at MSRP. Toyota doesn't see the money over MSRP. That goes to the dealer. But Toyota doesn't have any control over that. I'm not excusing Toyota, but they're not really to blame here, okay? So how does it drive? In EV mode, it drives really well. It doesn't pop out and slip back into hybrid mode like the early Prius plug-in hybrid did. It's not speed limited like the Prius Prime. It goes. It gets up and goes, and until you run out of juice, it keeps going. In hybrid mode, it's still quick. You still have the electric motors. It's still all-wheel drive, and it gets up and goes. For an SUV, this vehicle's very get up and go-y. That was me being get up and go-y, if you didn't notice. Like many Toyotas, this vehicle has an eco mode, which is a selector switch that allows the vehicle to save fuel, save electricity, to operate as efficiently as it can. That changes the acceleration curves, obviously. It has a normal mode, and then it has a sport mode. And the sport mode obviously uses energy of both kinds as least efficiently to give you the most performance. In sport mode, it kicks ass. It's not a race car. It's not going to be, but it's fast for an SUV. It's fast for a RAV4 with a 2.5 liter engine. Huh, crazy. The other feature, besides Eco, Normal, and Sport, it has a trail mode. Now, it's an all-wheel drive vehicle, and it offers the stability, the sure-footedness of an all-wheel drive vehicle on the road. If it's wet or if it's whatever's going on, that all-wheel drive makes it more sure-footed. The Prius Prime is an all-wheel drive vehicle. In addition to Eco and Sport mode and Normal mode, it has Trail mode. And the Trail mode allows you more sure-footedness off-road. Most SUVs never leave the pavement. People buy them because they like the form factor, they like the looks, they like the reputation it has. It's cool to be in a Range Rover, a Jeep, whatever. But a lot of these cars never leave the road. So I had to leave the road. I went up to some dirt roads. I don't have any like full-on empty fields here that I can access, at least, that aren't restricted property. But there's some very rough dirt roads in the hills outside of Escondido, near where I am. And I went there and I put the car in trail mode and I drove up the trails and down the trails and braked and accelerated. And I want to tell you, these roads, lots of washboard, lots of ruts. They're not maintained. They're dirt roads that go to a single residence, a trailer or something, or a house up on top of a hill. They're very, very rough roads. The RAV4 handled them adeptly, beautifully. Didn't get the smooth ride that you get in a Land Cruiser. Guess what? The Land Cruiser is twice the price and gets like 14 miles to the gallon. This has 42 miles of VV range, 45 mpg, and it goes off-road. That's pretty cool. That's actually really, really damn cool. Now, maybe you're never going to take it, you don't care, but I wanted to do that because Toyota was arrogant enough to put trail mode in there and give you a little splash screen and all that. So, does it work? Yes, it does. Yes, it does make a difference. Yes, I drove it a lot harder than I would have driven, you know, like back in the day I had a Jeep Liberty. Not an off-road vehicle. This one did surprisingly well. And there's dust all over the car to prove it. Wow. Fighting to keep control. The all-wheel drive system is really good. It doesn't want your brakes, your wheels to cut loose. It wants to keep them on the road and keep them spinning. But yeah. Nice. So, ton of little amenities, aside from the nice HVAC system, the entertainment system. There's a number of 12-volt outlets, a number of USB outlets on the dash, in the console. In the back, there is a 12-volt and a 110, a regular standard household 110 plug. Wow, that's super handy. As well, it comes, like a lot of Toyotas now, with key wireless charging. It's great, except if your phone has a case, it doesn't work. If your phone slides around, it tends to kind of lose the charge and then pick it back up again in a second. To be honest with you, I don't know what it costs, but there's probably something else I'd rather have. I am not a big fan of the key wireless charging because it's slow and it's weird. It's hinky. It doesn't work like I think it should. My opinion only. If you love key charging in your vehicle, good for you. That's cool. I could be wrong. It's just me. Styling wise, the RAV4 Prime is a RAV4. There's a head-to-head comparison with a 2019 RAV4, the new generation, and this RAV4. You're going to see, except for colors, it's pretty much the same car, and it is. So exterior body style, it's a RAV4. The difference between the RAV4 and the RAV4 Prime is obviously it's a hybrid car, and it has a plug-in battery pack. It has a larger battery pack, so it gives you an amount of pure EV range. So it doesn't look like an electric car. It looks like a RAV4 SUV. That's going to appeal to a lot of people. They don't necessarily want something that looks electric, but they may appreciate the performance aspects of it and the efficiency aspects of it. You know what? The more people that move into hybrids, to plug-in hybrids, and then EVs, the better. So if this is the gateway drug, the bridge, the step, however you want to call it, if this is that vehicle, then I'm totally for it. This isn't a complaint. There's nothing that I loathe more. Well, there's lots of things I loathe, but there's nothing that annoys me more than auto writers who complain about the circumstances of the review rather than talk about the product itself, the car, the driving experience. This is sort of an excuse, I guess, a mea culpa. Normally, we get these cars for a week. That means it's delivered one day, it's picked up another day. I have 5 days in between to drive and develop impressions and take notes and collect video and do that. Because of probably COVID-19, because there wasn't an official rollout for this car, because this is a prototype, I have 3 days. And to be specific, those 3 days were yesterday the car was delivered at 2. I have today. Tomorrow it's getting picked up between 11 and 1. So I have 47 hours. Now, obviously, you know, I did a review that took 15 minutes with the Tesla Model Y. But that's a 15-minute impression. It's a snapshot. Even in a week, it's tough to develop the repeat impressions that an owner is going to have. And I think that's the value that I try to offer with these What Drives Us reviews, is that it's way more than a test drive. It's way more than 5 minutes in a car when the salesman's sitting in the passenger seat telling you where to go or telling you not to drive too fast. I'm going to drive too fast. I'm going to make sure that the car does everything that it's supposed to do. And in this case, I have spent every hour since I got the car. I did sleep last night, and I'm going to sleep tonight. But as many hours as I can, driving it under different circumstances, testing out different things, talking to people that I know. Chelsea Sexton was a huge help today in talking with me about things to look for in the vehicle. And a lot of that stuff is going to appear as observations and review. Chels, thank you. So that's the context that I think that, if not important, is germane to you viewing this and going, oh, okay, you only had a day in the car, really? Maybe it isn't as complete. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm producing a ton of video, and I am working really hard to make this every bit as comprehensive as our 1 week reviews. But it's not going to be. I'd like a few charge cycles. I would like more chances to drive it in EV mode. But I have limited time. So we're going to do the best that we can, as we always do. Thank you. Thank you for understanding. And thank you for watching this. Don't go away yet. We're not done. Really. So, overall, what do you think of the car, Russell? I mean, you probably got an impression of what I think by watching this review. But overall, this seems like the car that it would have been great to see Toyota make 5 years ago. And that's a backhanded way of saying it's a wonderful car. The EV range is great, is strong, is usable. The hybrid MPG is excellent. The performance is amazing. It's a big SUV. And it gets 45 mpg and 42 miles of EV range. It's a blast to drive. What more do you want? $45,000, it qualifies for the full government tax incentive of $7,500. Again, depending on what you're going to be able to buy it for, depends on the integrity and the lack or encouraging greed of the Toyota dealer that you go to. My best of luck in that sense. But do I think it's worth buying? Oh, hell yeah. I think this is the car, or a car, that Toyota should have made a long time ago. I'd like to see a plug-in CHR. I mean, it could be an amazing car. Is it perfect? No. Some of the analog gauges annoy me. Toyota has this thing. They're very sensitive about some stuff. So, but overall, again, would I own this? The old metric is, do I want my mother to own this car? Well, I took her for a ride this afternoon. She loves the car. But all the safety features, all the efficiency features, it's going to be inexpensive to operate. Yeah, I would love my mom to have this car. Absolutely, I would. I would like to have this car. It's a little big for me. I'd be more interested in something the size of the CHR, but this is a great vehicle. It might be great for you. If it fits your use scenario, if it's in your budget, I think it's a good choice. That's all I got. That's all you need. Really. Thanks very much for watching this review of the 2021 Toyota RAV4 Prime prototype. Our first look at an early production prototype of the RAV4 Prime. It has been an amazing 47 hours with this car. So as always, please subscribe to the channel. Please look at our fundraiser. We desperately need the money for that computer. If you can, kick in a couple of dollars. There'll be links all over the site and in the videos for our GoFundMe page. Or I guess you could search What Drives Us on GoFundMe and find it that way. Thanks again for watching. Thanks to Toyota for giving us access to this vehicle that everybody wants, and it's been an amazing experience. Until next time, drive safe. As a summary, the value that the RAV4 Prime represents is formidable. I have to admit, in conversations, that just kind of debriefing myself with friends of mine that do this, I haven't seen something like this in a long time from Toyota, where they didn't miss anything. They didn't screw anything up. They didn't intentionally neuter a package because they wanted to sell a different package, or they didn't not include. This is as contemporary and up to date. And sort of thinking about this morning, and they're coming to get the car in like an hour. So this is probably my last thing in the car. And thinking about this, one of the things that really impresses me about the RAV4 Prime is it's a formidable value. Car companies often, you know, I mean, it's about making money. How can they package the car so that it's appealing, yet so that people want to buy extras and give them more money and they can make more money? That's just part of the way it works. So oftentimes what seems to happen is that manufacturers kind of ding themselves trying to kind of play this game. And it's hard to guess what does the public want now? How much value do they place on this feature versus this feature? And Toyota's certainly not immune to that. This is the first time in a long time that I've been in a model of a Toyota that hits everything. It's clear that they wanted to make this a statement vehicle. They wanted to make this, it has the best of everything that Toyota can offer. Performance, efficiency, size, form factor, features, safety. It's all here. It's all in this one vehicle. That doesn't happen often. Sometimes even with a great car, you know, you've got to buy the bloody navigation package to get the geese and stereo. And you're like, oh. Now, we can talk about the differences between the XLE and the XSE trim, but I think when it comes down to it, because of the way the pricing is, the XSE, the top of the line trim is the one that's really going to get the attention, and deservedly so. It is an incredible value. It's not cheap, but it's not crazy expensive either. The thing about the RAV4 Prime is it hits all the points. It has, in the XSE trim, it has all the features you could imagine, and they're so beautifully done. That's what makes this a car that is an incredible value. I was driving last night on the freeway and playing with some of the new safety suite features, just checking to see how, because it's a lot of this stuff is software driven, right? It has sensors, but it depends on what the computer controlling them sees and how the car reacts. The lane keep assist in this car is incredible. It is the best I've ever seen. Really rivaling, if not maybe better than, Nissan's ProPilot 2. It is the steering is very, very good. It's not just a warning, a wobbly warning, or it kind of edges you into the middle of the lane. It steers the car. Now, I didn't try driving through streets or anything like that, falling asleep or sitting in the back seat. That's stupid. What I'm saying is this has gone from something where the steering wheel initially wobbled and then it would kind of center you in the lane, to something that is seeing the lanes in the freeway and is following them. Now, what happens when it doesn't see those? Well, obviously it disengages, and you've got to be in control of the car at all times. Toyota doesn't have they don't play any games calling this autopilot or anything else like that. What I'm saying is that their slow and steady evolution of these safety suite features has made them better and better and more robust and more accurate and more usable. And that is huge. That means it's safer, it's more pleasant to drive the vehicle. And that's what it's all about when you own the thing. For now, that's all I've got. Thanks. This is Russell from What Drives Us, and until next time, drive safe.